The massive viewing window of the Guardian Star showed the beautiful blue-green planet below. Hundreds of ships floated in formation around the flagship. Lights blinked across their hulls as they celebrated their victory. After 50 years of brutal war, the Krell Empire had finally surrendered. Admiral Samantha Powell stood tall as alien diplomats crowded around her. Her gray uniform was perfectly pressed, medals shining under the bright lights of the reception hall. "The Galactic Union owes you a great debt, Admiral," said Ambassador Zix. His blue skin shimmered as he bowed low. "Your strategy was brilliant." Samantha smiled politely. "The victory belongs to all who fought, Ambassador." She sipped her drink and watched the mixed crowd. Aliens from 30 different worlds mingled together. Some had scales, others had fur. Some floated in special suits filled with their home gases. All were united in their joy that the war was over. Lieutenant George Kelly approached from across the room. He was young for his rank, with short brown hair and worried eyes. "Admiral, may I speak with you?" he asked quietly. "Of course, Lieutenant. What is it?" George glanced around nervously. "Something strange on our long-range sensors. Probably nothing. But—" Samantha nodded. "Show me." They walked to a small display screen away from the main crowd. George pulled up the sensor readings. Small dots appeared at the edge of the screen. "Here, Mom. These readings appeared about 20 minutes ago. They're just at the edge of our range. Have you asked intelligence to analyze them?" "Yes, ma'am. Officer Grant is looking at them now." Samantha frowned slightly but kept her voice calm. "Very good. Send a patrol to check. Routine only, no need to alarm our guests." "Yes, Admiral." George left quickly. Samantha returned to the celebration, but her mind stayed on those strange readings. The Krell were defeated. Their remaining ships were accounted for. So what was out there? Captain Peter Morris was speaking with a group of alien officers when Samantha approached. "Captain, a word please." Peter excused himself and joined her. "Something wrong, Admiral." "Just being careful. Lieutenant Kelly found some unusual readings. I've sent a patrol to investigate." Peter nodded. "Smart move. Though I doubt it's anything important. The Krell don't have anything left to throw at us." "Probably right," Samantha agreed. "Still, I'll feel better when—" A loud beep interrupted her. She tapped the small communicator on her wrist. "Admiral Powell here." Emma Grant's voice came through, tight with worry. "Admiral, the patrol ships, they're gone." "What do you mean, gone?" "Destroyed, ma'am. We received a partial emergency signal, then nothing." The room suddenly felt cold. Samantha's back straightened. "Sound general quarters. All ships to battle stations." The pleasant music stopped. Alarmed voices rose as red lights flashed throughout the ship. "All guests, please return to your vessels immediately," announced a calm voice over the speakers. "This is not a drill." Samantha hurried to the bridge, Peter right behind her. The celebration was forgotten as crew members ran to their posts. On the main screen, Emma Grant stood ready with her report. Her dark hair was pulled back tightly, her face pale. "The sensor readings are clear now, Admiral. Multiple vessels entering the system. But they're nothing we've ever seen before." "Show me." The screen changed to show the approaching ships. Samantha's breath caught in her throat. They were massive, far larger than any Galactic Union battleship. Their dark hulls seemed to swallow the light of the nearby sun. They moved with impossible speed for their size. "Are they Krell?" Peter asked, though his voice suggested he already knew the answer. "Negative," Emma replied. "The design is completely unknown. And their power readings." She hesitated. "They're off the charts." The bridge fell silent. Outside the viewports, the celebration lights on the other ships had gone dark, replaced by the glow of shield generators and weapon systems powering up. "Open a channel," Samantha ordered. "All frequencies, all languages in our database. Channel open." Samantha stood straight, her voice firm despite the fear crawling up her spine. "This is Admiral Samantha Powell of the Galactic Union. You have entered Union space. Identify yourselves immediately." The response came seconds later, not in words, but in action. The lead vessel, easily twice the size of the Guardian Star, opened what appeared to be hangar doors. Smaller craft poured out, heading directly toward the Union fleet. "Battle formations," Samantha ordered. "All ships prepare to engage." The Galactic Union had just won a war. Now they faced something that made the Krell Empire look like a minor threat. 15 years earlier, on a small blue planet called Earth, John Carter stared at the twisted metal in front of him. The alien ship had crashed in the Arizona desert 3 days ago. Government trucks had brought it to this underground facility before anyone could take pictures. John pushed his glasses up and looked at the strange symbols on the ship's hull. As the lead engineer for the project, he had to figure out how this thing worked. "Any luck?" asked a woman's voice behind him. John turned to see his wife, Laura. Her uniform showed her rank as colonel in military intelligence. Her blonde hair was tied back tightly, her blue eyes sharp. John said. "The metal is unlike anything we've seen. And there's an energy source still running, even after the crash." Laura nodded. "The president has called an emergency meeting. The data we found in the ship's computers. It's being translated now." "What have they found?" "War," Laura said simply. "A massive war between two alien groups. They call themselves the Galactic Union and the Krell Empire." John wiped his forehead. "And where does Earth stand in all this?" "Nowhere for now. They don't know we exist." 3 days later, leaders from every major nation gathered in a secure room beneath the United Nations building. The mood was tense as Laura showed images from the ship's database. "The war has been going on for over 40 years, she explained. "Billions have died. Entire planets destroyed. And they could find us at any time," asked the French president. "Yes," Laura said. "The ship that crashed was a scout. We were lucky. If either side knew about us, Earth would become a target. Or worse, a battlefield," added the Chinese premier. The room fell silent. Then the American president stood up. "We have 2 choices. Hide and hope they never find us, or prepare to defend ourselves." The vote was unanimous. Project Bastion began the next day. For the next 10 years, Earth's best minds worked together in secret. Old enemies became partners. Scientists who once built weapons against each other now designed ships to protect all of humanity. Frank Martinez led the engineering team. His workshop was filled with pieces of the alien ship, carefully taken apart and studied. "The problem isn't copying their technology," he told John one night. "It's improving it." John looked up from his computer. "Improving alien tech? That's ambitious." Frank smiled. "We'd found at least 6 major flaws in their design. Their ships are fast but fragile. Their weapons are powerful but waste energy. And our designs." Frank pulled up a hologram of a massive ship. "We're building them bigger, stronger, and smarter. While they fight each other, we learn from both sides' mistakes." Earth's first space shipyard was built on the far side of the moon, hidden from Earth and any passing aliens. The first test ship, named Hope, made its journey to Mars and back in just 2 days. By year 12, Earth had 20 small ships. By year 14, they had their first true warship. The people of Earth named it Defiance. Admiral William Hayes stood on the bridge of Defiance, watching as Earth grew smaller behind them. His gray hair was cut short, his face weathered from years in the old United States Navy. "Status report," he ordered. "All systems normal." "Admiral," replied Susan Wright from her communications station. "The fleet is in formation." William nodded. Earth's first battle fleet consisted of 7 massive dreadnoughts and 20 smaller support ships. Each dreadnought was twice the size of the largest alien battleship from their intelligence reports. "Begin phase jump sequence," William said. Susan's fingers flew across her control panel. "Coordinates set for the Arcturus system. Intelligence reports major activity there. Very good. Let's see what's happening out there. The engines hummed louder. Stars stretched into lines of light around them. Earth had stayed hidden, watching and learning from the shadows. But now it was time to step into the light. Time to show the galaxy that humanity was not to be ignored. The Dreadnoughts vanished from Earth's solar system, heading toward a war they had not started but were determined to finish. The Earth ships appeared at the edge of the Arcturus system, like ghosts stepping out of fog. The jump engines powered down as the fleet settled into formation. 7 massive dreadnoughts formed a protective wall around the smaller support vessels. Admiral William Hayes stood on the bridge of his flagship, Defiance. The main screen showed the distant lights of the Galactic Union fleet. Farther away, the remaining Krell ships gathered in defensive positions. "We've arrived at an interesting time," William said. "Looks like we just missed a major battle." Susan Wright nodded at her communication station. "I'm picking up a lot of celebration signals from the Galactic Union ships. Victory announcements, congratulations, award ceremonies. And the Krell? Quiet, but their engines show they're ready to run if needed." William studied the tactical display. "So the Union thinks they've won, and the Krell are licking their wounds." He smiled slightly. Perfect timing. Kate Brown approached from her cultural analysis station. Her red hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, her green eyes focused on her datapad. "Admiral, I've been studying their communication patterns," she said. "Both sides use similar universal translator technology. Our systems should be compatible." "Good work," William replied. "Any protocols we should follow for first contact?" Kate nodded. "The Union has formal greeting procedures. The Krell respond better to shows of strength first, then talks. Then we'll do both." William turned to Susan. "Open a channel to the Union flagship, visual and audio." Susan's fingers moved quickly across her controls. "Channel open." "Sir." William straightened his uniform and looked at the screen. "This is Admiral William Hayes of the Earth Defense Fleet. We come in peace, but we are prepared for war if necessary." The screen remained blank for several seconds. Then it flickered to life, showing a woman in a gray uniform. Her face showed surprise, then careful control. "This is Admiral Samantha Powell of the Galactic Union. We have no record of Earth or its defense fleet. Please identify your species and intentions." William nodded respectfully. "We are humans, from the planet Earth. We have been observing your war with the Krell Empire for some time. We decided it was time to introduce ourselves." Samantha's eyes narrowed slightly. "Observing? How long have you been watching us?" 15 years, ever since we recovered one of your scout ships that crashed on our planet." The bridge of the Union ship grew silent. William could see alien faces in the background, all staring at him. "That's impossible," Samantha finally said. "No species could advance from finding a crashed ship to building." She gestured at the screen showing Earth's fleet. "Those, in just 15 years. William smiled. "Humans are quick learners, Admiral Powell, and we're very motivated when it comes to survival." Daniel Green, the tactical officer, suddenly spoke up. "Admiral Hayes, I'm detecting engine signatures from the Krell fleet. They're moving into attack positions." William kept his eyes on Samantha. "It seems our arrival has made the Krell nervous." "They're not the only ones," Samantha replied honestly. "Your ships are unlike anything we've seen, twice the size of our largest vessels." "We built them that way on purpose," William said. "Admiral Powell, I suggest we continue this conversation, but first." He turned to Daniel. "Defensive positions. Shield at maximum." The Earth ships shifted, their massive forms sliding into a protective barrier between the Union and Krell fleets. "What are you doing?" Samantha asked. "The Krell are preparing to attack. They see your celebration and our arrival as an opportunity." On the screen, Samantha turned to her own officers, who nodded confirmation. "How did you know?" she asked. "We've studied both sides for 15 years," William replied. "We know how the Krell think." As if on cue, the Krell ships launched forward, weapons charging. But they found themselves facing not just the weakened Union fleet, but 7 enormous Earth dreadnoughts with shields unlike anything they had encountered before. William's voice was calm as he gave the order. Show them what Earth can do. The Krell ships fired first. Red beams of energy shot toward the Earth fleet, bright against the blackness of space. Everyone on the bridge of the Defiance held their breath. The beams hit the shields of the Earth dreadnoughts, but instead of exploding or breaking through, the energy seemed to spread out and fade away, like water on a hot surface. Shields holding at 98%, reported Daniel Green. He sounded almost bored. William nodded. Return fire. Warning shots only. The Earth ships responded, but they didn't use beam weapons. Instead, small objects shot from the sides of the dreadnoughts. They moved too fast to see clearly. When they reached the Krell ships, they exploded in bright flashes. 3 Krell vessels spun out of control, their engines damaged. On the screen, Admiral Samantha Powell's mouth fell open. What kind of weapons are those? Kinetic impactors, William explained. Simple but effective, and very difficult to stop with energy shields. The Krell ships regrouped and charged again. This time, they aimed for the Galactic Union vessels, thinking they would be easier targets. They're going for your ships, Admiral Powell, Williams said. Permission to intercept. Samantha nodded quickly. Granted. 2 Earth dreadnoughts, resolute and defiant, moved into position. They were massive next to the Union ships, like adult wolves protecting puppies. When the Krell fired again, the Earth ships took the hits directly. Their shields flashed blue, but held strong. Now, William ordered, show them our main weapons. The front of each Earth dreadnought opened like a flower. Energy built up, glowing white-hot. Then beams of pure white light shot out, hitting the lead Krell ships. The Krell vessels didn't explode. They simply came apart, breaking into pieces as if they were made of sand. The remaining Krell ships turned and fled. The battle was over in less than 5 minutes. A day later, representatives from Earth, the Galactic Union, and even the Krell met on the neutral ground of a small space station. The room was tense as Ambassador Richard Hall from Earth faced both alien groups. Richard was a tall man with dark skin and a calm voice. He had been a diplomat on Earth for 30 years before joining the space fleet. Earth wants peace, he said, but we will fight if needed. The Union ambassador, a green-skinned alien named Zix, leaned forward. Your technology is impressive. Where did you get it? We built it, Richard said simply. After studying the crashed ship, we improved on what we found. The Krell representative, a reptilian being called Scar, hissed, impossible. No young species could improve our technology. Richard smiled. Humans are good at war. It's sad, but true. We've fought each other for thousands of years. When we found out about your galactic war, we prepared for the worst. As they talked, another meeting happened in the medical bay of the Defiance. Lisa Bennett, Earth's chief medical officer, treated injured Union soldiers. Her gentle hands worked quickly as she applied Earth medicine to alien wounds. This will help with the pain, she told a blue-skinned alien with a burned arm. Your skin is different from ours, but the nerve pathways are similar. The alien looked at her with 3 wide eyes. Thank you, human healer. Your people are strange, but kind. Meanwhile, Security Chief Paul Martins discovered something important. He was checking the station's security systems when he found hidden signals. Paul was a former police detective with sharp eyes and sharper instincts. He traced the signals to a small device under a table in the meeting room. Admiral, Paul reported over his secure comm. The Krell have planted listening devices. And there's more. I've detected what looks like sabotage plans for the Union flagship. William frowned. So they were never planning to honor the peace treaty. No, sir. And now they're worried about us too. William looked out at the stars. Earth had arrived just in time to stop a betrayal. but he wondered what else was waiting for them out in the vast galaxy. 3 days after the battle, a small Krell scout ship appeared near the Earth fleet. It carried a single passenger, a wounded Krell commander. The aliens brought him to the Defiance for medical treatment. The Krell lay on a medical bed, his scaled skin pale green instead of the normal dark green. One of his forearms was missing, replaced with a metal limb. His yellow eyes watched the humans carefully. "Why did you save me?" he asked in a raspy voice. The translator made his words sound mechanical. Lisa Bennett checked his vital signs on her medical screen. "We help those who need it, even former enemies." The Krell made a sound that might have been a laugh. "You humans are strange. Do you not know what the Krell Empire does to conquered worlds?" "We know," Lisa said quietly, "but you're not conquering anyone right now." Olivia White entered the medical bay. She was the lead science officer, with dark curly hair and serious eyes. She carried a data pad and looked excited. "Dr. Bennett, is the patient stable? I need to ask him some questions." Lisa nodded. "Just don't tire him too much." Olivia approached the Krell. "Commander, I've been studying your ship's data records. There's something I don't understand." The Krell's eyes narrowed. "What?" "Your fleet wasn't running from the Union ships during the final battle. Your course headings show you were already planning to leave this sector of space before they attacked." The room grew quiet. The Krell closed his eyes. "You are clever, human. Yes, we were leaving." "Why?" Olivia asked. "The Krell Empire has fought for this territory for 50 years. Why abandon it after one defeat?" The Krell looked at her, then at Lisa. "Because there are worse things coming. Things that make our war with the Union look like a child's game." Admiral Hayes and Admiral Powell met in the conference room of the Defiance. A hologram of the galaxy floated above the table. Red dots showed recent Krell movements. "They're retreating from all fronts," Samantha said, pointing to several areas. "Not just where we defeated them." William nodded. "According to their commander, they're running from something else." "What could scare the Krell Empire?" Samantha asked. Before William could answer, the ship's alarm sounded. Daniel Green's voice came over the speakers. "Admirals, we're picking up a strange signal. It's coming from beyond the outer edge of the system." William and Samantha hurried to the bridge. On the main screen, a pattern of light pulses repeated. "What is it?" William asked. Olivia studied her readings. "It's not Union or Krell technology. The energy signature is completely different." "Can we track where it's coming from?" Samantha asked. "Already did," Daniel replied. "It's coming from a dead zone, a region of space both the Union and Krell avoid." William looked at Samantha. "Why do you avoid it?" Samantha's face showed confusion. "I don't know. It's been marked as forbidden territory for generations." Eric Johnson, Earth's top strategic analyst, entered the bridge. He was a quiet man who spent most of his time studying battle records and star maps. "I think I found something," he said. "I've been mapping all battles between the Union and Krell for the past 50 years. He displayed a new hologram. Hundreds of small lights showed battle locations throughout the galaxy. "Look at the pattern," Eric said. "The fighting has been moving inward from all directions." Samantha stared at the map. "That's impossible. We've been pushing the Krell back." "And they've been pushing you back in other sectors," Eric explained. "The overall movement has been in a spiral pattern, like water going down a drain." William saw it now. "Someone has been hurting both your fleets." "But who?" Samantha asked. "And why?" The answer came from an unexpected source. A new ship jumped into the system, larger than any they had seen before. Its design was neither Union nor Krell. "We're receiving a transmission," Susan reported. "Audio only." A deep, distorted voice filled the bridge. "The harvest approaches. Your divisions make you weak. Your unity comes too late." William and Samantha exchanged worried looks as the message repeated. "I think," William said quietly, "we've just met the real enemy." The mysterious ship vanished as quickly as it had appeared. It left behind only questions and fear. The message about the harvest echoed in everyone's minds. 1 week later, Admiral Powell visited Earth for the first time. Her shuttle flew past the moon, where massive shipyards stretched across the gray surface. "You built all this in 15 years?" she asked William, who stood beside her at the shuttle's viewing window. William nodded. "Once we knew what was out there, we worked day and night. Every nation on Earth contributed resources and people." The shuttle docked at Earth Space Command. Inside, Samantha saw hundreds of humans working at control stations. On large screens, more Earth dreadnoughts took shape in the shipyards. "How many ships do you have?" she asked. 30 dreadnoughts completed," William replied. 20 more under construction, plus support ships, fighters, and defense platforms. Samantha shook her head in wonder. The Union took 100 years to build half that many capital ships. William led her to a large meeting room. Representatives from the Union, and surprisingly, the Krell Empire waited there. The Krell Emperor had sent his highest general, a battle-scarred warrior named Grax. "We face a common enemy," William began. "The Void Collective, as they call themselves." Olivia displayed images of the mysterious ship. They appear to be some kind of hive mind. They harvest resources from conquered worlds, including the people. Grax, the Krell general, thumped his fist on the table. "The Krell do not run from enemies. But these things, they destroyed 3 of our colony worlds. Nothing remained. Not buildings, not plants, not even the atmosphere." Samantha looked grim. "The Union lost contact with our outer colonies as well. We thought the Krell were responsible. They wanted us to blame each other," William said. "While we fought, they prepared." The Earth, Union, and Krell leaders spent days creating a joint defense plan. Engineers from all 3 species shared technology. Henry Morgan, a weapons specialist from Earth, worked with Krell targeting systems. "Their targeting is more precise than ours," Henry told William. "But our power systems are stronger. Together, they make a weapon that can punch through almost anything." William watched as Union engineers studied Earth's shield technology. The blue-skinned aliens worked carefully, their 6-fingered hands moving quickly over control panels. "Your shields absorb energy instead of blocking it," one engineer explained. "We never thought of that approach." The Krell shared their faster-than-light communication systems. This would allow the 3 fleets to coordinate in real time during battle. Outside the meeting rooms, the crews began to work together as well. Union pilots trained with Earth flight controllers. Krell warriors practiced battle drills with human marines. A month after the first meeting, Earth revealed its biggest surprise. A massive ship appeared from behind Jupiter. It dwarfed even the dreadnoughts. Its hull gleamed silver in the sunlight. "This is humanity's shield," William told Samantha and Grax as they watched from a viewing platform. "Our super dreadnought. We built it inside Jupiter's moon Ganymede, hidden from any watching eyes." The ship was 5 miles long, with weapons covering its surface. It could carry 10,000 crew members and 500 fighter craft. "With this," William said, "we might have a chance." The 3 fleets began joint training exercises near Neptune. The ships moved in complex patterns, learning to work together. During one exercise, sensors on every ship suddenly flashed warnings. Long-range detection systems picked up energy signatures at the edge of the solar system. "Multiple contacts," reported Daniel from his station on the Defiance. "Same energy signature as the ship we encountered before." William, Samantha, and Grax stood together on the bridge of humanity's shield. They watched as the alert spread through the combined fleet. "The Void Collective has found us," William said quietly. Grax bared his sharp teeth. "Let them come. We are ready." But Samantha looked worried. "Are we? Really?" The first scout ships of the Void Collective breached the outer defense perimeter. The real test was about to begin. The Void Collective attack began without warning or demands. One moment their scout ships were just watching. The next, they launched waves of smaller craft toward the Ally fleet. "All ships, battle positions," William ordered. His voice was calm despite the danger. Earth's dreadnoughts moved to the front line. Their massive hulls formed a wall of protection. Behind them, the faster Union cruisers took up support positions. The Krell ships, known for their speed and maneuverability, spread out to guard the flanks. On the bridge of humanity's shield, William watched the enemy approach. The Void ships were black, with glowing purple lines running across their hulls. They moved in perfect unison, like parts of a single organism. "First wave approaching," Daniel reported. 500 fighter-class vessels and 20 capital ships. William nodded. "Begin defensive fire. Hold the line." Earth's ships fired first. Bright beams of energy shot toward the incoming enemy. The smaller human vessels launched missiles that left trails of blue light. The Void fighters were hit hard, but for each one destroyed, 2 more seemed to take its place. They swarmed around the human dreadnoughts, looking for weak spots in the shields. "They're testing us," Samantha said from her position next to William. "Learning our capabilities. Then let's show them what we can do," William replied. "Signal the Union ships to begin their attack run." The Union cruisers surged forward, their sleek blue hulls shining as they fired precise energy weapons. They targeted the gaps between the Void fighters, creating paths for the Krell ships to follow. The Krell warriors howled battle cries as they charged through these openings. Their red ships spun and twisted in impossible patterns, firing in all directions. They were natural hunters, and now they had prey. Andrea Clark sat at her communications station on humanity's shield. She had helped design the system that allowed the 3 fleets to coordinate their actions. Her fingers moved quickly across her control panel as she relayed orders and information. "Union Squadron 3 needs support in Sector 6, she called out. Krell forces responding. The battle raged for hours. Earth's flagship took heavy damage, but held the line. Its main weapon still fired, destroying Void ships with each blast. But the Void Collective kept coming. For every ship the Allies destroyed, more appeared. Their numbers seemed endless. "Shield generators at 40%, reported an engineer on the bridge of the Defiance. "We can't take much more of this." Lieutenant Stephen Ross looked at the damage reports and made a decision. "Admiral Hayes," he called over the comm. "Request permission to lead a boarding party. We need to learn more about these ships." William hesitated, then agreed. "Approved. But be careful, Lieutenant." Stephen led a team of 20 soldiers in special space armor. They used a small, fast ship to approach one of the damaged Void vessels. With cutting tools, they opened a hole in its hull and entered. Inside, they found no crew, at least, not in the way they expected. The ship was controlled by a network of purple tubes that pulsed with energy. The tubes connected to brain-like structures throughout the vessel. "It's alive," Stephen reported back. "The ship itself is alive, or part of something alive." He collected samples and data, then ordered his team to plant explosive charges before retreating to their shuttle. As the Allied fleet continued to fight, the science team studied the information Stephen brought back. "The Void Collective is a hive mind," Olivia explained to the admirals. "Each ship is part of a larger consciousness. They don't think like we do. They consider themselves a single entity." "Any weaknesses?" William asked. "Possibly. The energy that connects them. It has a specific frequency. If we could disrupt it." As she spoke, a massive new Void ship appeared. It was 3 times larger than any they had seen before. The purple energy lines on its hull glowed brighter. "All ships, fall back and regroup," William ordered. He knew they couldn't win this battle. Not yet. As the Allied fleet retreated to a defensive position near Jupiter, William called the other leaders together. The first battle had cost them dearly, but they had gained valuable information. "We need a new strategy," he said. "And I think I know what it is." 2 days after their retreat, the Allied fleet was ready to fight again. This time, they would not wait for the Void Collective to attack. They would strike first. Their main staging area is here, William said, pointing to a spot on the star map. The leaders of all three species gathered around the table on humanity's shield. That's deep in their territory, Samantha warned. We would be surrounded. Exactly, William smiled. They won't expect us to attack there. Grax, the Krell general, showed his sharp teeth in what might have been a smile. Surprise is a weapon. I approve of this plan. Over the next day, they prepared. Henry Morgan installed new weapons on the Earth Dreadnoughts, devices that could disrupt the energy frequency the Void Collective used to communicate. If it works, Henry explained, it will be like cutting off parts of their brain from each other. Captain Victoria Miller prepared a special operations team. She was a tall woman with short black hair and eyes that missed nothing. Her team included humans, Union aliens, and even a few Krell warriors. Our job is to board their command ship and plant these, she told her team, showing them small devices. They will send out a signal that should confuse their hive mind. The Allied fleet jumped into Void territory all at once. 50 ships appeared around the Void Collective staging area, weapons firing immediately. The Void ships responded, but they seemed slower than before. They had not expected an attack here, in what they thought was safe territory. Earth's Dreadnoughts led the charge, their new weapons firing purple pulses of energy. When these pulses hit Void ships, the glowing lines on their hulls flickered and dimmed. It's working. Olivia shouted on the bridge of humanity's shield. Their connection is breaking down. The Union cruisers moved in precise formations, creating gaps in the Void defenses. Through these gaps, Victoria's team flew their small, fast ship toward the largest Void vessel, the mothership. Inside her helmet, Victoria spoke to her mixed team. Remember, we move fast, plant the devices, and get out. No heroes today. They landed in a damaged section of the mothership's hull. Using cutting tools, they made their way inside. The corridors were dark, lit only by the purple energy lines that ran through everything. Plant the devices at these junction points, Victoria ordered. Her team split up, moving quickly through the strange ship. Outside, the battle raged. Earth's dreadnoughts took heavy damage, but kept fighting. The Krell ships darted between larger Void vessels, causing chaos and confusion. On the bridge of humanity's shield, William watched the tactical display. His ship moved steadily toward the heart of the enemy fleet, firing its main weapons in a continuous barrage. Victoria's team has planted the devices, Susan reported. William nodded. Tell all ships to fall back to safe distance. Now, the Allied fleet began to retreat in an orderly fashion. The Void ships followed, thinking they were winning. Activate the devices, William ordered. Inside the Void mothership, the small devices began to pulse with energy. They sent out waves that matched the Void's communication frequency, but with a pattern that created confusion and chaos. The effects were immediate. Void ships began to move erratically. Some fired on their own kind. Others stopped moving altogether. It's like they're having a seizure, Olivia said, watching the readings on her screen. The mothership itself began to pulse with unstable energy. Parts of its hull broke off as it struggled against the disruption. William ordered the final attack. All ships, target the mothership. Fire everything. Every vessel in the Allied fleet fired at once. Beams of energy, missiles, and projectiles all hit the confused Void mothership. Its hull cracked open, spilling purple energy into space. Then it exploded in a blinding flash of light. The remaining Void ships went dark, drifting aimlessly without their central control. Victoria's team escaped just in time, their small ship racing away from the explosion. They watched from a safe distance as the enemy that had terrified the galaxy for so long finally fell. When they returned to Earth, the three fleets celebrated together. It was an unusual sight. Humans, Union aliens, and Krell warriors all sharing food, drinks, and stories. Admiral Samantha Powell found William watching the celebration from a quiet corner. You know, she said, when your ships first appeared, we thought you might be the end of us. William smiled. And instead, you saved us all. She held out a small device. This is an official invitation for Earth to join the new Galactic Alliance. As founding members, William took the device. We'd be honored. As the celebration continued around them, both admirals looked out at the stars. The threat was gone for now.